Hey, welcome back to the Board Game Closet. My name's Jimmy.
I'm Tim.
I'm Rod.
And today we're going to take a look at XCOM. XCOM is put out by Fantasy Flight Game, plays 1 to 4 people in roughly 1 to 2 hours. The premise behind XCOM is the Earth is being attacked by aliens, and you are joining forces in this organization called XCOM to prevent that. So let's see what you get inside the box. Okay, so this is what you get in the box with XCOM. We will say at the beginning that XCOM requires an app to play. There's an iOS and an Android version. You can play it either on an iPad or on your phone or tablet. And so you do have to download that in order to play the game. So, Rod, do you want to tell us about the components that come in the box?
Sure. So it's Fantasy Flight game, so what we expect from Fantasy Flight is great pieces, obviously. And again, they do not disappoint. When it comes to our interceptors, I believe that's what these guys are.
Yeah.
Yeah, the interceptors, the ships are nice, kind of look like the Avengers, Marvel superhero planes. And then each one of the guys, there's 4 different types of guys, grunts basically, that you have for your teams, a sniper and so on. And each one's easily identifiable because they all 4 look completely different. And there's just, again, nice design, nice sculpture. The plastic's heavy enough, so it won't bend or break on you. The little spaceships that are coming to get us. Map board has great art on it. It really, the one thing about the XCOM is that if you played a lot of the video games and stuff, it feels like it's part of that universe, and it feels like it's part of those games that have been created. So it does a good job of immersing you in it. The cards themselves, again, artwork's great. Cards are nice and big. They didn't go too small, and especially when it comes to sometimes cards get kind of small, but for this type of stuff, it works, and I think the piece-wise, it's a good game.
Totally. And I've seen this on sale already a couple times, and the amount of stuff you get with this for the price is amazing.
And that is something to mention real quick, just because the price point and what you actually do get. Even if you pay full price, it's great. It's a good buy.
That's totally. So, Tim, do you want to tell us about the rules to XCOM, how hard or easy it is to get into this game?
Okay, so as you mentioned before, this is one that uses an app. It's one of the first games to do it, where it integrates the game actually through the app. So the app is running the game for you. So you'll have one player that, no matter if there's 1 or 4 players, there's always going to be one guy that's running the app the whole time. They kind of just takes you through step by step. So the instruction booklet to this game is basically just, hey, start the app.
I love it.
But it
I
does
can do that.
It does explain, show you pictures of how you should set up the board, what the pieces are and stuff like that. And it gives you a real quick description of stuff that you'll need to know just to get the stuff laid out, like the 4 roles that the 4 players are going to play and everything like that. But once you start the tutorial on there, it goes through every single instruction, step by step. It pauses the game so you get a chance to learn. It has pictures in the app of the cards and the pieces that it's referring to. So you never get confused. I have no idea what it's talking about because it points it even shows you what to do with the piece and everything. It's brilliant. It's an excellent tutorial. And it really shows what you can do with an app now. When you try to integrate it with the board game.
Right. Yeah, because take the complexity of this game. If there wasn't an app, how big would the rule book be? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It would just be probably a 15, 20-page rule book that would have all these scenarios and stuff, but all that's in the app.
Yeah.
So let's tell you the basic idea of how to play. I'm not going to go through all the rules because the app does, but we'll go through kind of the basic understanding of how you play the game so you'll kind of know what to expect, and maybe this will be a game that would fit for you and your group. So in XCOM, you are going to each take a role. So there's going to be, depending on the number of people, 1 to 4, you divide up the role. So there's going to be somebody that's going to be in charge of the science or the technology that you've got. There's going to be somebody that's going to be in charge of the soldiers. There's going to be somebody that's in charge of the interceptors and putting those out. Somebody that's in charge of these crisis cards. And then somebody, like I said, is going to run the app. And what was the other thing that you always did?
The app and the satellites.
Satellites, that's right. So determining the satellites. So the way that the app works is you're going to hit start and then it's going to go through. And basically the app's going to say, it's going to queue different parts of the game. And when it queues it, it's your turn to handle your business. So you do whatever is up at that time. So it's going to say technology. And so there's 3 places on the board where you can come up with technology. And once you put the cards out there, then later on you're going to be able to try to roll and see if you can get that technology. And then when you get that card, you pass it to a person in the group, and now they have an advantage or something that they can do now. So that's one phase of the game. Another phase of the game is where you have aliens that attack your base. So there's an alien in the base, enemy in the base, and so you're just going to flip a card out, and it's going to tell you here's an alien that later on you're going to be attacking. So you're going to see what kind of alien it is, what kind of soldier it's going to take to beat that guy, things like that. Then UFOs are going to appear on the board. So the app will tell you UFOs have been spotted, and then it'll tell you where to place them onto the board. So you put them out. Then there might be a crisis card that comes out, and so this tells you a problem that's going to come up later that you're going to have to deal with. And so basically, you see it, and then you can kind of decide how are we going to get rid of that, or what are we going to have to plan for that's going to happen later on. There's also going to be missions that come up, and so you'll be able to look at a mission card and decide which mission you want on that round. And then another phase of the game is where you get to put out your interceptors, and your interceptors are what are going to fight the UFOs. Another thing is there's an orbit, so you have an opportunity to put out satellites to fight the UFOs that come into orbit. And so everything is queued by the app. So the app tells you, okay, technology, go. Okay, there's an enemy in the base, go. And so you have a certain amount of time once you're through the tutorial. So a certain amount of time where you have to make that decision quick. And so some of them are quicker than others. If you got the technology card, I don't remember how long it was, but it's enough time for you to say, okay, it's my turn, pick a card, put it out, but not so much time that you can just sit back and it's not leisurely at all. So there's enough anticipation moving you forward, but not so much that you can't really make a decision if you know what you're doing. So that's really how a round works. So you do all of these things, and then that's the timed phase. And then after the time phase is over, then you go into a phase where you're going to resolve everything that you did on the board. So you're going to come back and you're going to fight your UFOs. So the enemy has a die, and then you have a success die. And one of the cool things about this is there's a tracker over here that goes up. So each time that you fail, it keeps going up. And so your chances of defeating them becomes harder and harder, but not impossible. And then you're going to go through a phase where you're going to fight the enemies that have come into your base. And then there's a phase where you go through and you roll to accomplish the missions that you're trying to, your objectives there. You fight these guys out here, you fight anything that's out there. And you're also trying to base panic. And so there's another aspect of the game where each country, if let's say you don't defeat these UFOs, it's going to cause panic in that area, and so these go up. And a neat feature with this aspect of the game is once you get into, the more you go up, once you get into the red, those countries, because they're panicking, aren't going to give you a lot of money to be able to fight this, which is something else I didn't mention.
Right.
You only have a certain number of credits or money that you have to spend to do all of this stuff. So there's somebody's job, like my job was to be able to say, okay, we only have 10 money this time, so you can only use 3, and okay, each one of these soldiers costs 1, so you can only put 3 of those out. And so there's this balance of not being able to do everything you want based off of the money. And so that's how it works. And so you go through a round, when it's over, you start again, you resolve everything, move stuff up, and then the app says go, and you do it all again. Is there anything that I missed or that I didn't talk about?
No, I think you caught everything.
The only thing is that after the resolution phase, certain things it'll ask you for, like was the base destroyed,
Right.
which is the big end game for the players. Where are the countries at? Are there any ships left in orbit? Did you finish the mission?
Right.
Stuff like that. When it takes that into account, it determines like the order of stuff for the next turn. So if, say there's UFO still in orbit, then it messes up all the round actions.
Right.
So instead of enemies showing up in the base and then you being able to assign somebody to those aliens, now it'll say assign people, and then it'll show up aliens in the base.
You got to deal with it.
So
Yeah.
everything gets kind of messed up. The more you mess up a resolution phase.
Which is really cool because it's not just we know what's coming every single time, but it could be crisis and then enemy in the base and then another crisis and UFOs and then more UFOs. So it's throwing stuff at you. You don't know what's coming. Very cool.
Yeah.
So okay, let's talk about thoughts on the game, what we think about it, that kind of thing.
Well, I thought first of all, so far it's probably the best integration of using any type of computer on any of the games that are out right now. I mean, I think it just goes together so well. It puts intensity into the game, at the right time.
Right.
And there's a breathe apart, and then there's intensity again.
Right.
So I thought it did a really good job of that, and it did enough where it wasn't taking over the board game, because some games tends to be, well, why don't I just play this on the computer?
Right.
It didn't do
Very
that.
true, yeah.
And so I thought it did enough. It did enough, but not too much.
Yeah.
And that too, when you have just one guy controlling the app and reading it out to everybody else, it's basically a board game.
Yeah, that's true.
And that one guy is screaming at you.
Right.
So
Right.
Yeah, I just liked by the time you play through the game, you at the end you're always feeling like I know my job. I'm doing my job, So when he calls out crisis, I put it out there. I read it to everybody. I'm already thinking through how much money we have. So to me, it really does give you the feel that you're working together as a team and you're accomplishing a goal because this is my job to do. And your first 3 rounds, if you change jobs from what you did the last game, you're kind of thinking through it all. But once you get through the cycle, man, it's like an oil machine.
Yeah.
Give me this, take that.
And the game, for me, it hits some of the great parts of gaming. Especially now, it's a co-op game, and it really is a co-op game. And if as long as you again, I mean, like in the other co-op games, somebody can take over, but as long as you keep it going without that, you don't allow a person to do that. It's a great co-op game.
Right.
Sci-fi has great license. The XCOM license is a great one. And then, I mean, just everything else from the board and everything is just fantastic. The artwork's fantastic.
Right.
I mean, it looks like we're playing on top of a computer board, right?
It does, yeah.
So.
yeah, this actually doesn't have that big issue with the cooperative where one person takes over because I've tried to play it solo, and that's a lot of stuff
Right.
to take care of.
Try to think.
They're like, well, I need to sort this and sort that, and try. So it's like everybody's basically just in on their job, and that's their world.
That's what they do.
During the time phase. During the resolution phase, you kind of get to look around, whatever.
Yeah, because you don't have time to say, well, how much money have we spent? And you're not thinking through that. You're hoping the guy over there is counting money and you don't go over, that kind of thing.
And the research guy has got to look through all 6 of his cards, and really figure out, it's like, well, who really got hurt last round? And it's like, how can I help him this round? And stuff like that. And
Very cool.
It is very neat because you are trying to help those other team members in certain ways and however you can. Especially since I played tech so much, it's really neat because you really can see you see things that you do, and when you do it right, you see the benefits right away.
Right.
And that's pretty neat.
So one guy over there is really bragging about how well he's doing playing the bases.
It's all because of me.
The tech guy.
The tech guy's what hooked him up.
Not that happened or
Yeah.
anything, but anyway. Okay, so at the end of our reviews, we like to do a 1-die rating. So we do buy it, play it, or hate it. Green means buy this game and add it to your collection. White means maybe you wouldn't buy it, but you definitely play it. And red means you wouldn't buy it and you wouldn't play it because you hate it. So let's see what we give this one. And go. It's a
Yo! Now, that is, I mean, the one thing that's interesting, that is really rare for us to actually have the 3 green.
Yeah.
Even though it's so simple, you think it wouldn't be. We very seldom go all green, so that says a lot in itself.
Yeah. So tell us why you gave it a green.
Well, for me, the integrating technology into a board game, I mean, there's like the only 2 games so far that I've played is Golem Arcana and this, and I really want to support this. I think everybody should support this kind of movement to where they're integrating different mediums into it. It's like the old VCR tape games. They were kind of horrible, but
It was still cool,
were really
right?
it was a good idea. Yeah.
They're really bad, but
But yeah, but in this case, they actually did it right.
They did
and
it right.
actually, it was actually fun. The integration worked, and it actually still has the feel of the video game it's based on. So it's still great.
yeah. I mean, I've heard a lot of negative, I guess, about technology using board games or using text with board games. People are like anti that. They want to totally stay analog, but I don't know. Like to me, like I think this does all the heavy lifting for you. You can just focus on the game and you can play together. The price point on this, I'm telling you, compared to maybe some other Fantasy Flight games, what you get with this, I just think is phenomenal, and it plays great. It's fun. By the time this was over, I'm thinking, man, let's play again, and that to me is always a sign of a good game.
All right. For me, it's the same thing. I'm going to hit on the same points, but price point is fantastic. I mean, I enjoy this game just as much as I enjoy some of those $80 games that I've purchased. And that's
Recently.
there's too many of them. But I mean, I enjoy it just as much, if not more. It's got a good license. I enjoy co-op games. At the end of the day, when we get done playing, it's not like somebody got beat up and someone didn't. If we win, we all come out pretty happy. So,
That's it.
so I mean, I just following the same as you guys. It's just quality game, very quality game.
All right, that's our review of XCOM. We've got a lot more reviews on our website, boardgamecloset.com. Make sure you favorite this video, share this video, subscribe to our channel, all that kind of stuff. And as always,
Support your local hobby shop.
woo!
Or gaming club.